Hello?
Hello, sir.
As we grow, the set grows. What do you think, man? What do you think? Talk to
It's pretty player, bro. Yeah.
me. Now, for those of you that don't know, I come from production, right? And Lo and I installed these like lighting grids along with the help of my interns and Marcus. And so nothing is on stands right now. Everything's raised off the ground because this room is smaller. It allows us some freedom to walk around.
Yeah.
And then, we did a paint job. Lo and I did a paint job in here. The new logo hanging from the top. Pretty player.
Yeah, for sure.
Got some new chairs. Like, we're growing with the set. And,
Yes.
I feel like every week something's just going to pop up new and new and new.
Yeah.
So, welcome back, bro.
I feel like thank you for once again for letting us use this space. And I mean, I feel like especially working with you as a creative, it's always new ideas, right? Mm-hmm. Like, especially when we have something so primitive.
Yeah.
And it's like an empty canvas. You kind of start filling things in there. They're like, oh, I should put this in there, this in there, this in there, And just that creative process of watching things form together and create is huge for artists, right? And that's what they call the experience, the experience of building things together. Because then this was just an idea.
It was.
It was just an idea of two buddies, talking over just working with each other. Look where we're at, It's sick. You guys put it together. And when we're doing the paint job, it almost felt unreal.
Really?
Yeah, because it's been a long time since I've done something big outside the realm of what I do,
right.
And then just standing there, just putting it together and painting it. I was just like, I remember standing in my head and sitting in my car at the end. I was just like, damn, I can't believe it came to this point,
Yeah.
And it's sick, bro. Thank you. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
Let me adjust your mic real quick, just in case. So, how's your week?
My week has been well. I have just been working on tattooing and just run things at the shop. Personally, my personal life has been quiet for the most part. And been doing a little bit of training here and there. I took a little hiatus off training for about like a month and a half of seriously like working out every day. But I've been getting back into the rhythm of things,
Nice.
And besides from all that, like, it's been pretty chill. I don't have a wife or kids, and I don't have much family. So I spend a lot of time by myself. And so most of my days, if I'm not intentionally making myself busy, it's pretty chill. Yeah. How about yours?
Been good, man. I think last year was a little rough, but the seeds were planted. Not rough in a horrible way, but like just mentally.
Okay.
I just feel a little stuck. But seeds were planted, things were worked on, and I'm starting to see things flourish. Things change, ideas come to life. I do want to. Okay, so we're gonna get more consistent with this, right? And I do want to have a practice for us, and I want to push that to you. I learned in therapy, the little things have big effects, right? So, what are your thoughts on having every session start with either something you're thankful for or something you're proud of?
Oh, that'd be sick. Yeah.
It doesn't matter what the fuck it is, right? But it's because some weeks we feel different, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, you want to start?
Since you're the professional, you start.
Which one do you want to do? You want to do proud or thankful?
I think whichever one you would want,
Okay.
I think you should have the option. Either or. Yeah.
How about we do both?
Okay.
One in the beginning and one to wrap up.
Okay, sure.
Right?
Okay. I love that idea, by the way.
Yeah. It's like signing in, signing out, right? Clocking in and clocking out. So, I guess let's start off with what we're proud of.
Sure.
Okay. I am proud of no matter what happens in life, we still push through. I still push through.
Absolutely.
And that's allowed us to build and keep going. That's something I'm proud of myself for. And, with therapy, these little activities, is because these things we don't say out loud, right?
Yeah.
And so if you ever feel disconnected or you feel numb, it's because we don't have that practice, right? We're conditioned by the world on how to be. So now we got to fix that.
Okay.
And, you know, this being a mental health kind of conversation, I'd like to put that into practice. So I'm proud of myself for figuring things out and never giving up.
I think to add on to that, well, what I'm proud of is, and I've actually spent the last, I would say, a few weeks going over this in my head. And it really happens with perspective, right? And I'm really grateful or proud of where I am at today and being able to have the resources and just the mindset that I have developed to be able to live the life that I currently do. That's something I'm very proud of, you know? Because then we get caught up into our day-to-days and we don't realize that out of necessity, you know, we have to do certain things, change, level up. But then for myself, sometimes I would forget like the humble beginnings.
Yeah.
We'd get like a disconnect from that, you know?
And how bad you wanted it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, and it came down to like the other day, and I think I do this every day where like, I see like, am I complaining right now? Mm. And it's okay for me to complain, you know, I ask myself things like that. And that's how I came to this conclusion where it's like, I remember when I was a youngster, or before I had what I have today, I would be like, damn, I wonder what that feels like to be able to do that. To do big tattoos, or to do this, or be able to have a business where you can sit and like work on projects and things like that, you know? I used to daydream about those type of things.
Yeah.
Right? And that always brings me back because I'm like, damn, and I'm sitting here complaining that I have to go to work and do this project, and when it helps remind us, you know. And it helps me remind me too that this is why it was important for us to come together to do this as creatives, to share our daily creative life with people, you know, professional lives or whatever it may be. Yeah. Because there are kids out there right now still daydreaming about owning a business or working professionally in a craft or having 20 years of experience, you know.
Doing what we're doing.
Exactly.
That we get to do every day.
Yeah. and how precious is that we get to share with people, you know?
Yeah.
And remember when we're painting the place, bro, and it was just like, damn, it's crazy that we talked about this idea and my brother has his own business and you know what I mean? Like we were able to come in here and just like create this, and it was a very smooth process and transaction, you know? And so, not a transaction, but it was a smooth process coming together and forming this.
Yeah.
And yeah, especially coming in here right now, it's just like, man, what a huge blessing. Right? So.
Dude, do you think back then we even knew what that daydream was like really about?
What do you mean by that?
Because like we knew what we dreamt of, like being an artist or whatever, right?
Sure.
But did we know what the day-to-day was gonna be like, or how much work it would take to get there? Did you think you thought about that?
Absolutely. Maybe to a certain degree.
Yeah.
From whatever experience I had with putting in work already, right? But no, nothing would have prepared me for this, you know? Like, yeah. Right, that's coming from my perspective, right? I don't think anything would have prepared me for any of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Dude, I appreciate that too, because I do want to add that, you know, the day-to-day can get kind of crazy sometimes.
Yes, sir.
But at least we get to decide what we want to do every day. Because we've all done 9 to 5s. Mm-hmm. You know, we've all done these jobs that nobody wants, right? But the fact that we can wake up and have freedom to do whatever the fuck we want.
Yes.
And share the stresses of like, you know, am I doing enough comes into play, right? Like, am I building, right? It's just the mere fact that this started off as a dream. We're actually here doing it. But the freedom is something I'm the most appreciative of.
Right.
And I'm never going back to a 9 to 5. I'm never, ever.
Yeah. It's that's awesome, bro. You know. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off right there, bro.
All good.
Yeah. Remember that conversation we had about getting the tattoo?
Which
And
one?
then about you showing your mom or your dad or something like that? Like,
Oh, yeah.
And then what
Last
their
week, yeah.
opinions would be, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, I remember you were telling me, like, if I had just listened to everybody else and went and became Dr. Dale, I would probably, you wouldn't have any tattoos. You probably would have met maybe a lot of the people you met down this road of filming and production and stuff like that too, you know? Or live the life that you live right now.
And then we would have never met.
Exactly. That would suck.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. But you did what you wanted to do, became Director Dale. Now you have this enormous mountain of experience. And it felt good to look at you and be like, bro, if you wanted to tattoo your whole body, you deserve it because you work to live that life where no one tells you what to do.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't have to report to anybody. Which is dope.
And that is it. And it, you know, people like to say flex. I feel like that's a huge flex.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I might have these problems. I might have different types of problems than other people who may be doing different types of things. But at the end of the day, like, whatever, all my losses are all mine and all my wins are all mine. You know? And I love that. I'll take all the losses all day as long as they're all mine. You know?
No handouts, bro. We earned every single bit.
For sure.
You know?
Yeah.
That's actually funny you brought all that up because so we filmed one episode already, right?
Yeah.
And both of us haven't watched it yet. But I feel like that's okay because it's organic because we remember what we want to remember, right?
Sure.
So one of the things that I did, I know because the last episode was very broad, right? We had like our mission, our purpose, and a little background on us. But I'm thinking about it and I feel like we need to dig deep in our journeys a little bit.
Sure.
Just to give context to the people watching.
Okay.
You know, like where this all started for each of us. Feel me?
Yeah.
So, for you, when did you know art or tattooing or together, that was it? That was the passion. How old were you? Walk us through that story.
Okay, so I think, and this is crazy, but and I'm gonna say this before I start this story, is that I have lived a life with a lot of trauma and drug abuse and alcohol addiction and things like that, you know? And it's hard for me to remember a lot of events in my life. Like if I flash back to like teenage years, I'm only remembering like certain things here. You know what I mean? Not a lot of significant things that happen.
So they were like buried?
I wouldn't say I don't know if they're buried. It's just like really foggy, you know? Okay. But definitely there are like historical moments in my memory, or like even like over periods of time where I can remember. Yeah. And falling in love with art was like one of the first ones, you know? And I feel, so with art, since I was a kid, bro, like I always loved learning new things, you know? And learning about new things, I should say. When I'm curious about something, like, you know, it was very intuitive kid, you know? And I like to try to just, for lack of a better word, almost like exploit whatever I'm interested in, you know? But I guess when it came to drawing, it was such a huge challenge for me as a kid. Because I just love the idea of sitting there with pencil and paper and just drawing something on there, and it's just like, damn, I can do anything I want on here. I remember looking at it and be like, I can do anything that I want on here. I could draw like bad pictures. I could draw this and that. No one needs to know.
So did you seek that, or was it like when someone presented it to you?
Initially, I seeked it. Initially, It was like I had a desire to do that.
To draw?
Yes.
Okay.
Because like I felt like I could do anything. So now it's like, now that you know that you can do anything on here, now how do I find references and things to draw on, you know? And then that kind of like helped me click with life a little bit. But with art, drawing was my first love. Drawing with a pencil and paper. And for sure, I liked it because during that time, I feel like that was my only escape. You know, we grew up very poor, right? And so we didn't have a lot of access to things that's like maybe other people might have, you know? And so my thing was like either watching TV on the tube or going outside to play or sitting there and drawing. You know what I mean? That's like a lot of my childhood right there.
Okay.
And so I remember getting pencil and paper, and I would draw. That'll be my escape, because freedom, especially in the house where it's like people are constantly yelling at you and like a lot of noise and things like that, and things that you can't process as a kid. It's just like, fuck all this, dude. I just sit here and draw. Like, fuck all you guys,
So drawing was an escape.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah.
So drawing was an escape from the loudness of the world and things you can't process. That's pretty deep, bro.
Yeah. It's like you can't tell me what to do here.
Yeah.
You can't make me feel like a shitty person because I get to decide if this is a shitty art piece or not, or I'm a shitty person,
Right.
I have control of my life.
Right.
And yeah, so to get onto a more serious note, growing up, I was really into watching like Dragon Ball Z anime and things like that. Okay. At this age, I went to a public school here, and so I didn't really have an art background. There wasn't like Picasso's hanging in my house or anything like that, Yeah. But there's anime, cartoons and stuff. And I was so into it because just as much as I was into drawing, I was into cartoons.
Yeah.
Because that was my escape as well, And I'm sure a lot of us can understand. Going there, watching it, like, oh, should I identify with this character or this cool? I want to be like this person. And when I seen that anime, I remember just like, I want to be like those guys. They're so sick, They're so strong, this and that. And
so the characters.
The characters,
okay.
The characters. I wanted to be like them,
Yeah.
And I remember as a kid, it's like, damn, it's crazy how like they can show us this cartoon, and I'm just like blown away, and so like it has so much meaning to it because you get to see the transitions of the characters and things like that. And when you watch it, identify with it, you get pumped. And I acknowledged that as a kid. Was like, that's very powerful right there. You can draw something, give it to somebody, they'll be like, oh, that's sick because for whatever reason.
Wait, what age is all this?
This is about like 6 years old. Yeah.
Fuck, I don't remember anything. 6 years old.
Yeah, I remember because like that's all I had spent time doing.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in a house with just my mom and my sister and myself.
Yeah.
And so I sit there and I would think about these things. And this is when I got serious into drawing because I remember like you would have to wait for the episodes to come on every week, like new one. And I'll be bummed out, dude. So I was like, fuck, I'm gonna draw as much as possible off my memory, And my mom one day bought me a poster from the little like Asian souvenir place. She bought me this Dragon Ball Z poster. Oh, sick. That changed my life.
Shout out, Mom.
Yeah, because I put that into my room, and my room was like connected to the kitchen, and there's like a mid window right there. And so I taped it onto this window, and so when the light shines in, I can see even brighter. It's so sick, And I was like, you know what? It would be such a sick idea if I could put a piece of paper over this and try to copy it. Because then my drawings, I'm 6 years old. I'm trying to draw it like a reference and tracing, and it's and I know that it doesn't look like it. So this is what helped spark my technical career as an artist in general. I started putting it over at the age of 6 years old. I was copying these things perfectly, bro.
Wow.
Perfectly.
That's 6.
That's 6, yeah. And I would draw, trace, put it together, learn the shading. And for a 6-year-old, it was decent. Yeah. And I remember like this was my first lesson in reference technical drawing. And I taught that to myself. And that was that, and I, that whole pre-story up to that point, that was like the pivoting point for me because it was like I did that on my own. Like I didn't go to art school, I didn't go to anything. No one instructed me. I went and put that piece of paper over there to trace it. I learned so much that eventually within like a year span, I was able to draw it off the top of my head. Yeah.
Wow.
And I remember I was like, that changed my life because now it started making me believe that I could just try other things and I would be able to create something out of it, And that started my whole career as a artist right there, my childhood.
So this kind of feels like, thanks for sharing, by the way.
Yeah.
This kind of feels like we're gonna have to break this down to stages, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Right, because like this was like the pure moment.
For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, and then we have like teenage years and then adult years.
Yeah.
Right. So.
The heavy chapters,
Let me share my pure moment.
No, please.
My childhood moment.
Please.
Because I loved yours.
Yeah.
Because it's so innocent.
Yeah.
Right. Because like, what the fuck do kids do? Right. They go play. Right.
Yeah.
And like they watch TV or they play games. But here you are, 6 years old, figuring out a passion. Right.
Yes.
Right. And it wasn't handed to us.
No.
You know, you have to figure it out. So, I was fortunate. When I was younger, all of this passion and stuff came from my dad, right? Also my mom. So, when I was in that age, 6 to 8 years old, my dad, even up to like 10, my dad always had a recording studio. And, you know, he had people over and he had students come by and he like had these classes teaching people how to make music. And I would literally be the kid behind the door looking through the gap. Right? Like thinking to myself, like, that's so fucking cool.
Hell yeah.
Like, I want to be in that room. I want to create. Because I love music. We all love music, right? Like, to see people create it and like, my dad's teaching them and like I'm seeing speakers and pianos and gears, like that was everything I lived for like that. And then my dad got me my first guitar, right? And over the years too, like as a business, my dad, you know this, like Asian cultures, we have karaoke videos.
Oh, for sure.
Right, where every party is fucking slapping karaoke videos and people are singing their hearts out, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we have videos and like on tapes and like on like CDs and whatnot of my mom acting as the girl hiding behind the tree, you know, like while the guy pursues her in the karaoke video. And my dad would be the producer of it, like putting the subtitles on, editing that shit together. And so I was exposed to my love for video making, for music making, since I was like 6, bro. Also, right?
Okay.
Not the exact same age, but like in that range.
Okay.
And that was always the compass. That was always the North Star. No matter what happened in life, it was always like, I gotta come back to music somehow. Like I gotta figure this out, you know, because we didn't have access to schools like an art institute, and you know, we grew up on like Senator McLaughlin, San Jose, you know, like the closest thing we have is high schools, right? So that was when the seed was planted for me.
What kind of guitar did you get you?
It was an electric guitar. I still have it. It's over there. It was my first guitar. I did not know how to play at all.
Yeah.
But my dad knows.
Yeah.
And like, I'm like you, right? We learn by referencing.
Yes.
Right? I've always seen him play. I've seen other people play. I hear it. I've trained myself and conditioned myself to a point where if I could hear it in a few minutes, I can play it.
Yes.
Right. But yeah, I remember when I got the guitar, that shit was like, my world was made, bro.
That's so sick, dude. Because I remember growing up, and I really love music too, right?
Yeah.
And I always wanted to have a guitar, and a lot of Asian people's houses, some of them come from music families, right? And so going in there, I would always imagine like, man, I wonder what it's like to grow up like in a side of family like that, where like the dad knows how to play guitar, like they're all singing together,
So
and like
a music household,
you know. And for me, I was like, I used to like, oh, I want that so bad because I want to learn, you know.
Yeah.
I know, because then I feel like, man, my house is just like dead and cold, you know. Like, that'd be so sick if I could have that, right?
Yeah.
And so, hearing that you explain that story, being that kid behind the wall, like watching them do this, like, oh, fuck, it's so sick, bro, you know. And yeah, that I wouldn't expect any less because of all of the monster like projects and things that you do nowadays, you know. So that's so sick, dude, for sure.
You mentioned to me in the past too that there was a looking through the wall kind of moment for you. Was that for tattooing in a garage?
That was for tattooing. Yeah, that's for tattooing.
Okay, so that's a perfect segue to the next chapter of life. So what was that like for you?
Man, so fast forward, I still do art, right? I don't graffiti anymore, but I was into graffiti, you know. I was into just drawing with pencils, learning as much as I could under the amount of discipline that was taught to me from what I have gained like through my own experiences.
Yeah.
Because the reason why I say that is because some of you guys out here listening, you guys may come from, and I applaud you guys for this and all the best for everybody, but some people may come from places where their parents create a structure for them where they get to learn discipline in a healthy way. Where they get to go do extracurricular activities and have like, you know, they get to learn those type of disciplines. They're like piano, dancing.
Okay,
all
so
these
you said
stuff.
healthy way.
Healthy ways, you know?
What was yours?
So my experience was more of just like a survival way of discipline, you know?
So,
Because I didn't really have a lot of, besides just badgering and yelling and things like that for no real reasons, right? And most of the time when they don't give me a reason that makes sense to me, just because it's more like a dictatorship or something like that, or trying to force something onto me, then it's going to just be trauma to me. It's just going to be something like you're attacking me, you know? And when I had to learn how to be disciplined, it's just like, if I don't do this correctly, I'm not going to succeed. Or like, if I don't do this, like, if I don't hold my restraint from doing this, I'm going to get in trouble, type of thing, you know? So those are like my forms of discipline. Like I had to just learn. And I feel like compared to other people, that discipline, like it grew a lot slower, you know? Because it was just like, man, like it's a lot of trial and error of like learning through your mistakes. But I feel like when you have that person to guide you and provide you with the love and comfort and tell you that things are okay and, you know, you can do this, you don't have to do this. When you come from a background like that, or you come from an upbringing like that, your discipline levels grows in a much healthier style. You know what I mean? Because you're like, when you're trying to learn discipline for yourself and seeing what works for yourself, and you don't have that reinforcing person that's like, oh no, it's okay, or no, it's not okay. You're like, you know,
or you don't have the map.
Yeah, it's just get lost, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
And so talking about discipline. I feel like people who have that, they were able to maybe be more successful in life or grow at a rate that's more comfortable for them, you know? But then for me, it's like more survival. I straight up, bro. Like I've thought about this back and forth, you know, I've replayed this in my head all the time to really see if I'm where I'm at with that. And yeah, that's how I feel, bro, you know? Just learning how to be more disciplined and teach myself the lessons and digest it in whatever way that I could. Okay. Sorry about that. But to go back to the question, fast forward, I went to college. I was still doing art and stuff like that. And I never really sat down and went to an art school, purely just referencing after that, you know, learning how to like, man, this doesn't work, this doesn't work. And you're talking about like hours and hours of just making many mistakes, especially with drawing, right? It's very apparent, right? Then it's, oh man, dude. And I get into high school, and my first experience with tattooing here on the east side of San Jose, we have a huge underground tattoo community before, right? It was very underground because this is before social media and things were mainstream. So tattooing, in my eyes, was a much more sacred practice. So when you had like a really good tattoo artist, you knew that he had to go through the ringer and draw his ass off and learn the tools and things like that to get to where he's at, right? And so this real underground, like punk rock vibe, you know? And so
punk rock or street?
I would say more street. I was like a kid.
Very different vibe, bro.
I was more like, yeah. I mean, it's more street, definitely more street. There's a lot of punk rock dudes though, you know, and people, right? But I remember I was in high school and I went to an older person's house, and I had got introduced there. We were there just to like hang out or something, and they were double my age, you know, or like a lot older than me, like 10 years older than me. And I walk in here about 14 years old, and I remember walking into this garage, and I see a dude sitting in a chair with his back turned, and then another guy with a tattoo machine in his hand, tattooing his back, huge back piece. And this is like a sick place because like I'm a kid, like I like to be out there like with people like this, you know. And the vibe of the place was just sick. It was like garage and you know, smoking cigarettes, drinking, music blasting, you know. And it was a cool vibe and there's art everywhere. And I walk in here and I remember just like, what the fuck is going on here, you know? And I seen this guy tattooing this dragon, two dragons. One was a light blue one, one was a dark blue one. I remember it perfectly in my head. And he's in there tattooing, and I came up behind him, and everyone went inside the house. I'm a little kid. 14, like I'm still kind of young, right? I'm just standing behind this guy watching him work. And then finally he looks around at me, you know, he's like, oh shit, like, what's up? And I looked at him, I was like, what the fuck are you guys doing here? You know, like what is this, right? He looked at me. He's like, this is tattooing.
Did you have any?
I didn't have any, not yet.
And
I wasn't even exposed to it like that yet.
And what age was this?
About 14. I just turned 14.
So this is like high school.
Yeah, so I knew about tattoos, but I didn't see it like that. Yeah, you know what I mean? That was like, man, you are deep into like, and this guy's a really well-known tattoo artist during that time, right?
Yeah, tattoos had that stigma back then.
Yeah.
Right, like, oh, you bad guy.
Bro, if you had a sleeve back then, you were a bad dude, you know? If you had a sleeve, it didn't matter what the fuck it looked like, right? You have a bunch of like goldfish all over.
Now you got tech hippies with fucking, now you have tech hippies with fucking sleeves.
Oh, for sure. Which is a beautiful thing for me, you know? But we're going to elaborate on that, you know, like throughout this whole lifetime. But yeah, so I talked to him and he's like, yeah, what kind of, no, I asked him, what were we doing here? And he was like, oh, it's tattooing. And yeah, from that moment forward, bro, like, that's all I wanted to do.
So that's where the itch came.
That's where it's like, I need to know everything about this. Because this is so sick, you know, because I was really into with my Asian culture.
Yeah.
Especially like street Asian culture. And then just seeing this dude badass sitting there, both of them tatted up, you know, and I'm really into art. Like, that was my passion, like, creating something with my hands. And seeing him put a picture onto this guy's skin at that scale. You're not talking about a little tattoo. I'm talking about his whole back was blasted, bro. And that changed my life forever.
Wow.
I was stuck. I needed to know everything about that because for some reason, it just all made sense to me. My culture, I was a really rough street kid hanging out with, you know, these underground people now. And then now just doing art. And I've been an artist my whole life and I've been practicing. And all of these people probably never went to art school either, you know, and like they understand me, you know, and I was like, it just makes sense, dude. I have to do this. This is me right here. I'm going to be like these guys when I grow up. And that was the feeling I had during that time. I was like, fuck art school. I don't want to be a painter, you know, fine arts and stuff like that. I was like, this is what I want to do.
I want to be that guy in the garage.
Yes. I want to be sick, you know what I mean? Like, and not get judged and not feel like I have to go to art school and stuff like that. Like, I feel like when I saw that, it's like, these are street dudes who came from same beginnings as me. Some even way worse. And it's like, they're doing sick ass art. And it's like the critiques and like, you know, the dialogue that surrounds that, it was just music to my ears, bro. You know, like it just felt right. And that's one of the biggest blessings that the universe has ever gave me. And I would never forget that ever in my life, you know. Sick.
What a core like, spark, right?
Fuck yeah.
Man.
Yeah. How about yourself?
So we just talked about your high school moment.
My high school moment.
Right?
Pre-adult, like before your career, like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
That's crazy, bro. Because I feel like my journey was similar.
Okay.
Where, with regard to like age, right? Because at that point, childhood was just dabbling, right? It was just fucking around, playing guitar, drawing, like, my spark was very similar to the upbringing where, you know, despite where my dad's businesses went and all that, he still always had some sort of a studio where if a group of kids would come by, he'll teach them how to make music or something and give them pointers and all that. And I'm at 14, 15, I'm still that dude looking through the gap of the door, right? My love grew even more because of women.
It's gonna be a long one, guys.
So
sick.
I wasn't, you know, Rico Suave. I wasn't like the player, you know. All I had was music. That was me. You know, that dude in high school walking around with a guitar.
Yeah,
that was me.
Sick.
You know,
sick,
you had the dudes walking around with skateboards. You had the dudes, you know, with like cigarettes. You know, I was a dude holding a guitar.
So yeah. Nice.
And my only goal in life, at that moment in high school, was to sing to girls. and I mean, I have songs out now, right? And I don't have like the projecting, like, you know, Michael Jackson, Mariah Carey voice, because I wasn't used to my tone. Okay. I was always like a softer tone singer. Okay. And so you had to be this close to hear me.
Okay.
And so that dude that's walking around holding a guitar was also the dude at the bus stop singing to girls. And back then, bro, it wasn't even like like trying to be all romantic and shit. It was just, I would sing like stuff to make them laugh.
Okay.
So I'd like randomly rhyme things that I can't bring anything up now, but like I would rhyme things that would just make them laugh, like, just comedic singing.
Okay.
You know, like I don't mind going downtown as long as the streets are clean. It's talking about like,
Yeah.
you know.
I get it now.
So that was a reference to a Jamie Foxx joke, but I would like throw that in there and just trying to make these girls laugh, you know, try to get them to like, you know, like slap me on the arm or something.
Sure.
Hop on the bus. I'll be in the back of the bus singing to a girl, and this would be like, again, stupid shit, and like that was my only goal in life, is just to make these girls laugh.
Sick.
Yeah, that was the core memory. Now in high school, my dad produced a film called Tears or something.
Okay.
This was, and we're living back in San Jose now.
Okay.
Right. So in our guest bedroom, he hired a director. So shout out this director. His name is Osa. He's a Cambodian American director from Stockton. He was hired by my dad to produce his film, and he slept in that guest room with all his gear and everything. So he wasn't just the director, he was also the guy who filmed and the guy who scored. So the guy who made the music for the movie. And I didn't really care about filming and all that yet, right, in my career. But I'm older now, so I don't mind like walking in the room now. So I walk in the room like, hey, I don't want to bother you. Like, is it cool if I just like sit right there? Like, I'll just be a fly on the wall. And dude, he was making music, pianos, strings, all through a piano. And I seen this shit growing up, but now I'm like closer. You know, I was outside the room, now I'm in the room.
Yes.
Right? and shout out to him, because after a few fucking sessions of me sitting in that station, he asked if I want to try.
Sick. Yeah.
Right?
Hell yeah.
And, you know, I know how to play guitar. I would dabble in piano. Like, I know chords and stuff. And, like, I don't know where to start. Mm-hmm. You know, like, how do you make music? I don't know. But he walked me through it. He was like, no, just come up with some sort of melody right now. I'm like, what are some melodies that you just play? And I was like, bam, 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 bam. And I remember that beat my first beat, I remember clearly what that sounded like. But at this point, I'm like 16, 17-ish, I think. And that was it for me, bro. The way I felt sitting on that piano, like figuring out how to make a beat.
Yes.
That's what I chase even now. Like when I'm having a rough week or a rough month or something, I realize it's because I'm not making beats. I'm not making music. But the moment I get back in there, and you know, obviously it's not always gonna be perfect, right? But like just the fact that I'm clicking buttons and like, you know, downloading some new sounds and learning some new chords, like that was always it for me. Just that trying to figure out how to make a beat. So that was my high school core.
Dude, sick. Sick. I just want to let you know that sitting here and listening to these stories and like being in the setting where we're listening, like, and it's sharing this intimate stories, bro, like it's so sick, dude. Like, thank you. I'm gonna take that with me, you know? Fuck. So Dale singing to the chicks at the bus stop, bro. Like, do you feel like, and I there's no right or wrong answer to this, but do you feel like you did that because you wanted to just see what kind of reaction you could get out of them based off of the things you were playing and saying, or because you had a game plan of trying to maybe coerce them or like get them to feel some type of like you know,
like hitting on them,
on them, or like, you know, getting a specific reaction out of them,
yeah.
Or you just kind of like, oh, I want to see like what would happen if I do this,
Yeah.
you know? How do you feel that you came out that?
I mean, based on the data, I closed none of those deals.
No names, no highs, no.
It was. I mean, you would always meet the same people in the classroom, on the bus stop, whatever. Like,
yeah.
I don't think it was, you know, trying to think back, I don't think it was to get at chicks and to holler at them or whatnot. That was never the thing. It was like, I'm still figuring out, I'm still playing, I think it was a confidence builder. And because we're so both like comedic people, right?
Yeah.
And so like I just like making people laugh and like just poking jokes and like that was always my thing. But yeah, I closed none of those girls.
Well, like not even a name later on, like, hey, dude, what's good? Like,
not even my wife, bro. my wife of we've been together 14 years.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like music wasn't what got me through.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up, bro. Yeah. I'm sure young romantic, Dale would see Dale right now and be like, oh man, I could pull so many girls with all the cool things I can do now. No, not even
Sure.
not even that, but just like seeing your older self like in the music videos where you dancing with those hot Latin chicks, you know what I mean? Like, and singing a song and being in these buildings. Dude, little Deb like, what? That's sick, bro. I want to grow up be like you, for sure. Yeah. I
think first it'll be like, who the fuck is that? That's me? No, I didn't. I mean, do you feel like the young dreamer would have been here?
Nah. Sometimes no, not really. I mean, I don't mean to make this sound dark. But when I was young, growing up into my teenage years, I didn't think I was gonna live past the age of 21. Yeah.
I mean,
but so there was no like, oh, I'm gonna be this person or that person. I just go with the flow,
Was there like a normalization maybe that people were just dropping from the streets?
Oh, for sure. Most of the people that I associated with, a lot of them died, and a lot of them went to prison for long extended terms, Yeah. And I was definitely down that path, bro. Or they OD'd or strung out on drugs and cracked out and stuff. But man, I'm not, and I say this because it helps reinforce and keep that spark inside of me. But I felt like I was different than my surroundings. I felt like there's plenty of tattoo artists and people, but there's only one me. And so I want to see like what me is about. It kind of helped me like push through it. But if I was younger, it was hard for me to like, because of the road and the things I was doing, and people making it seem like this and that. I just didn't know, bro. It was hard for me. If I did have like one little time of just sitting there and be like, man, I wonder what it's like to be a tattoo artist or tattoo shop owner or something like that, it wouldn't last for longer than 10 seconds. Because it's like, oh, this is a pipe dream. But as I grew up and you meet people who have already started businesses, and you meet people outside of the realm of people who are just street people and stuff like that, you see the realm of possibilities. It's like, oh, this is the street dude, but he doesn't do any of the stuff that I'm accustomed to. He's a business owner. Fuck, you learn a lot from that, And I was like, hey, maybe I can do that. And then, especially when a guy like that looks at you, he's like, you can't do that. It's like, oh, okay, cool, And I just found it through tattooing. But tattooing was really just a means. It was my last final straw, bro, honestly. Because I feel like up to that point right there, I didn't have a high school education. I don't have a college degree. I'm a felon, and I felt like I was just gonna be stuck in the streets, bro, and just doing like those kind of things. Because there's a spectrum. This is cool, super good, above water stuff, and then when you get really deep down to the underground, like you get stuck there, just no come back, And at least that's what my thought process was on that. But anyways, yeah. I was able to use tattooing as a means to survive and create and have a decent job, right? And so,
sorry, bro, I need to rewind.
Yeah,
there was something important that I heard you say earlier.
Okay,
and I don't mean to pause you.
No, please.
Because at this point, you, me, like this is like 18, 20-ish,
yes,
of the age. Mm-hmm. And sure, we have a passion, right? Mm-hmm. And what we want to do. Do you feel like there was, I heard you say it, right? But did you feel like there was always some sort of a voice in your head that said, keep going back to that thing?
Yes. Almost like a spiritual push. Almost like okay, even if I'm broke, down and out, and I'm feeling like shit, or I'm feeling like life is not going anywhere, I can go back to doing that thing, drawing, right? It's always my thing. Going back to drawing, and I just feel like that will always help me realign with myself. Because it didn't matter how much money I had in my pocket. It didn't matter the things that I own or possess or my status in life or anything like that. When I got back to doing that, it was just like sick. You know what I mean? Like, I find so much satisfaction in this, you know?
That was the joy.
Yes.
So I bring that up because I feel like there's a lot of people that don't know what they want to do in life.
Yeah.
But for us, we have that little voice in the back that kept saying, go to your escape. For you, right? Mm-hmm. Correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Yeah, sure.
And for me, it was, what are you doing, bro? You didn't touch that thing today. It was like, no matter where I was in life, whether it's college, going to med school, pre-med.
Yeah.
And you know, fulfilling this thing and that thing for my parents. And like, no matter what it was, I always wanted to go back to the music, right? We're coming up on, what'd you put, 50 minutes?
50 minutes, yeah.
Okay, so we got 10 more minutes, cool. Let's talk about, before the business, right? Let's talk about those college years.
Okay.
So, where are you at now, at college years?
Fuck, bro.
20s, 21s?
20s, I was in Los Angeles.
The fuck?
Yeah, I lived in LA. I lived in LA for a few years.
Okay.
I dropped out of school, man, at 15. And from the age of 15 all the way up until about 19 or 20, I got into a lot of trouble. You know?
The streets took you.
Yeah. And I was just living house to house and like living on the streets and stuff like that, you know? Street kid, you know? And I got into a lot of fucking trouble. Racked up a pretty, I wouldn't say a hefty record, but a record, you know, nonetheless.
Yeah.
And so by the time we got to the 1920, I was in Los Angeles, and we were doing something with marijuana down there as a club, you know. And I learned a lot of sales stuff down there, and this whole time, right, from the age of 6 years old all the way up until 20 something, I never stopped drawing. On my own free time.
In the midst of all the street stuff.
Yes, everything. Like, I would come home and it's like, okay, I'm gonna put out my pencil and start drawing, you know? And I never gave that up. I always come back, drawing big pictures, small pictures. And most people didn't even know that about me, that I love to draw right now as an artist, especially my friends, until they came into my room or like they came into a place where they're like, you drew all of this? Oh yeah. It's like, this is what I do. And they would be blown away like, I had no idea that you did this. I was like, I spent every night doing this, you know? And so that was always my thing. No matter where I was working, where I was going through, like come back home, I get to draw like sick, you know? Because I get to create it. And that fully aligns with every stage of my life, now that we're talking about it. And so, I come back from LA, and then I start getting even more trouble, you know? Because of the lifestyle I was living, drugs, alcohol, being on the streets, you know, doing things like that. It was causing me a lot of trouble, right? And at this time, I fucked up so bad that I was like riding a bike everywhere, and like, you know?
Yeah.
I was riding a bike everywhere and like just down and out, sleeping on my homie's couch and shit like that, you know? A lot of things have happened in my life. And tattooing I got offered the job. And this is why I'm so proud. This is one of the proudest moments that I have, that I can remember clearly, is that, you know, no matter what happened, I always stuck to my love for tattooing. Even when the guy that I asked to train me, that story I shared where like, oh, fuck, I'm so sick of watching tattoo. That guy didn't even want me to tattoo. He didn't even want to teach me. It wasn't like, oh yeah, you're going to be my apprentice right away. Fuck no. He was like, dude, this is not for you. Or like, he wasn't saying this wasn't for me. He was kind of more saying like, you're too smart for this. Because this is a dead end job. You're not going to be able to make a lot of money, because during that time, most tattoo artists not making a lot of money.
Yeah.
It was just a trivial job for people that, you know, whatever, underground people.
Yeah. And
so it was like, but even then, I still, fuck this guy. I'm draw and just do what I have to do. And when I got my job at my first tattoo shop, one of my boys was working there, and I came to support him. And I remember boss. Shout out to Ben from New Generation. But he came by. He was like, "Oh shit," because me and my boy, we know each other through art, right? On social media, that's at Facebook and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, bro, like, hey, this is my boy Lo here. He draws, bro." He's like, "Oh, well, let me see." And then when I showed him the pictures that I was drawing, he was like, "You drew that?" And then talking about like, I'm not drawing pictures. I'm drawing like huge 6-foot canvases, bro. 4 foot to 6 foot canvases. I sitting there. It was the biggest papers I could do. I buy the biggest drawing pads. I'm drawing huge drawings here, you know? And he looked at it. He's like, "I can't even draw stuff like that." And he's like, "You want a job here?" I was like, "Fuck yes, I want a job here," you know? And then from that day, bro, I never left the tattoo shop after that. First day, first one in, bro. I came in there at like 8 o'clock in the morning or something like that. And I sat there and I didn't leave until like midnight. And I would do that every single day.
What age is this?
I was, I'm 33 this year. I was 25.
25.
Yeah, 25.
Wow.
Yeah.
Alignment, bro.
Yeah.
Alignment that what, 15 years of you loving this passion and practicing it, that presented itself.
Fuck yeah, dude.
That's alignment.
Yeah.
Something nudged your way there. Call it universe, call it God, whatever. Something nudged you in that direction.
It's crazy because, you know, that was my first job at a tattoo shop, you know? I was like 25, 20, like somewhere within that time frame. And I feel like just the enormous amounts of practice I put into it. And you know, when you do things by yourself, you don't have a lot of exposure to a lot of resources and networks and stuff like that. When I was young, I was just like, man, everyone's so much better than me. Like, fuck, dude. Like, I would look up the dopest artists. Like, dude, like, how do you do that? I want to learn how to do that. Everyone's so much better than me. And I would be super timid. Super like, oh, I don't want to share my stuff, like, you know, because I don't want to go to the tattoo world, make myself look like a fool and stuff like that. But then that just made me practice even more and more and more and more. And then when I got into the tattoo shop, not to talk down on anybody, but then I realized how different in experience that I had more than other people in drawing. And it was like, I was like, damn, because when I go walk in there, I'm like, oh shit, you guys are tattoo artists? Like, you guys must be all sick as fuck, you know? Like, do you guys paint on on your free time? Do you guys draw all night? You know what I mean? Like, I would ask them questions like that. And maybe only one other person in the shop was like that. Everyone else is like still getting the basics down with drawing and whatnot. And then they would see me sit there and we would have like a big canvas board in front. And I would live on that thing. It was like my wooden dummy, you know? I would pull out a huge piece of paper. Within 10 minutes, bro, I'll fill this whole paper with one solid ass drawing. You're talking about like 4x8, right? And I remember the first time I did that, and I left the sketch, right? And I would just do that. And I remember someone sitting there was like, how the fuck did you do that? It would take me 6 months to draw something like that. You did it in 10 minutes. And I was like, I just been drawing my whole life.
You put in that work, bro.
Yeah, and that made me see the different in experiences, you know? And I was like, maybe I'm not like terrible at this, you know? Maybe I don't like suck, you know?
Well, they're also two separate worlds, right?
Yeah.
Because tattooing really, okay, correct me if I'm wrong, right?
Sure.
But that's a technique, right? That's a skill that you can build. But do you necessarily have to be an artist to be a tattoo?
Oh, great question. That's the golden question. Yeah. So so this is a lesson that I teach my students in my classes that, to put it simply, there's two kinds of tattoo artists out there. Or there's two different fields in tattooing. So, or do two different mindsets, I should say. First, you have a tattooer, and then you have a tattoo artist. Two different people. A tattooer so you walk into a shop and you just pick a design off the wall, boom, boom, flash, whatever, and this person has the technical ability to execute this design flawlessly, inch by inch, right? Tattoo artist, is coming from a place where this person created this design themselves, and then is able to technically tattoo it onto you as well. Okay. To be a tattoo artist, you must be a proficient tattooer. To be a proficient tattooer, you don't need to be a proficient tattoo artist. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so so some people make their livings like that with just being a tattooer. So that is what helped open my eyes to that question too. Is that when I was in there, I was like, how long have you been tattooing? They were like, oh, about 15 years, 20 years. And then I will watch them draw and they can't draw, At least in what I think what drawing is, sketching, sitting there, doing something together. It would take them a lot longer than it would take someone who's been drawing his whole life, right? And so that's when I realized, I was like, oh shit. I feel like that was I was able to have that edge in the tattoo world. Super proud of myself. Like, oh, what? I could just draw my own shit and tattoo it, you know?
Yeah.
And not all the time that my work was good though, right? Or that it felt like it was, oh man, that was super nice. Just through the learning pains, right? But yeah, all of the hours of putting into it, and you know, I really feel like I made something out of nothing. I didn't have to go to school for it. I didn't have to like go spend all this money and do all this stuff.
Figured it all out
with a fucking pencil and a piece of paper. I figured it out, you know.
That's determination, bro.
Yeah.
Because some people are given those blessings of structure and lessons and a mentor, and but would they have that drive to be disciplined for fucking 2 decades?
I don't think so.
Right? Yeah. And I think that's an important lesson that I want to bring up. Because I some people ask me, like, how did you know that music and videos, like, how did you know that this was what you wanted? It's that fucking little voice that you have. You don't have to search for this passion.
Yeah.
It's what you enjoy doing so much that you do it every fucking day, no matter what, no matter what's happening in life. If you got paid for it or not, you just have to listen to that voice.
Yeah.
Everyone has that one thing that they enjoy doing so much, and thankfully that in our world, there's a way to get a job out of that, right? So in my, would you agree?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
I went to UC Davis.
Okay.
When I got in there, I got in there under the chemistry program.
Okay.
With the goal of being in pre-med and eventually becoming a doctor, right?
Mm.
My junior year comes around, and I go to my counselor's office because you gotta check in for like what classes to sign up for and all that. And you know what she says? She's like, hey, you know, I know students that like barely try and they still get at least a C. Why are you failing everything?
Yeah. Because
this is the second time we're meeting up. I have to put you on academic probation again. Meaning if you get academic probation again, you're gonna be kicked out of school and you can't reapply for 2 years.
Damn. So
she's like, what are you doing? My response, bro, I'm in my room making beats. And sick. You know, like
duh, bitch.
Which I'm glad that, you know, that moment happened because everyone's studying, everyone's in the library, everyone's doing homework. Like, sure, I'm BSing everything, right? But I'm just making beats every day, right? And so when she brought that up, and I don't remember her name, but I want to shout her out because that meeting was very important. She's like, then why are you in pre-med? I was like, I didn't have an answer. I didn't, because in high school, you're persuaded to do something, whether it's from society, whether it's from my parents, whether it's from homies. Like everyone's nudging you to be something, right? Like you might follow a trend, right? Like, oh, everyone's gonna be a fucking nurse, right? Let's be. Now, I realized later in life it's because I wanted to make my parents proud, and all they ever brought up was what in Asian worlds, be a doctor, be a lawyer, right? The minority cultures, right? And so going back to the counselor, she was like, then why are you in pre-med? What the fuck? She literally stopped me and be like, dig deep and tell me, why are you here? I was like, I don't know. And then she's like, what I don't understand is, because school's not cheap, right? It's not easy, right? So why are you here? And I just told her like, I don't know. I'm just making beats. I don't know, right? And she said, then why don't you find a way to work in that field? I'm sure there's a job out there. And I didn't think it was gonna be a job making beats. And now I do this shit every day. Right? Like sick. That was a big moment for me in college.
That was badass. That was such a badass story, man. She did you a favor, dude.
She did.
Cause then you gotta. I feel like some people will have an attack on that. Like, what? I paid to be here. I can do whatever I want. You know, you come at it from a defensive point, but you really like no, dude, I'm trying to ask you, because if you're passionate about this, then you would try harder, you know?
Yeah.
But you're just digging your time away, like doing this other thing.
Yeah.
But then it's like, hey, no, real talk. Like, why don't you try to do that? Because you'd love to do that.
And no one's ever told me that. At that point, I'm 20 years old.
Okay.
It was 20 years of life where someone didn't ask me what I wanted.
Yes.
That was the first time, and I don't remember this lady's name. My bad. But that was the first time with like something as big as a career move, right? Or something as big as like your calling, right?
Yeah.
That was the first time someone asked me what I wanted. Because this whole time I was trying to make my parents proud.
Okay.
Right? That it was misaligning with what I wanted.
Man, it's funny. You know, in Asian cultures, and we talk about the expectations of moms and dads and stuff like that. Like that wasn't really prevalent in the people in my upbringing and stuff like that. I kind of feel like a lot of my homeboys and our parents, moms or dads or one both, right? We just look at us like, y'all ain't shit anyways. Like, you guys aren't gonna be shit. And I remember growing up, we always joke around about shit like that. It's like, damn, bro, you could have been a doctor. You could have been a rocket scientist, you know? And we always, and that's sad. And that when I think back about it to younger kids, like, it's kind of sad, right? Because to us, it was a joke. When other people is like, I feel like.
When they would look down on us?
Yeah, it just, especially when, just like us looking down on each other as friends, you know what I mean? But, because then obviously no one in my group of friends graduated college. Not one person, no. Yeah. And, yeah, it's just, it's funny, right? Like.
What they see, they didn't, well, there's a quote, what they don't see, they don't know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Like,
they don't know it's possible.
When I brought up to my parents that I wanted to do, you know, music for a living, or if I wanted to open a laundromat or open a restaurant, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what dream I bring up. They will say no.
Yeah.
Right? Because whatever negative stigma or whatever like traumas they went through that didn't allow them to say yes, they said no. Right? So how do you think that like played a role in our life? Like when someone kept saying no to you about what you wanted to do.
I was pretty, I think it helped me myself because I had been getting shitted on and like going through shit like that. Like I feel like from the fucking day I was born, bro, you know? And so like even growing up as a teenager, it made me very rebellious. So I was already expecting everyone to say no, you know what I mean? And my biggest supporter, which I wanted to support me, was my mom, right? She was super against tattooing. She was like, this is the dumbest thing in the world, you know? But at the same time, though, she was kind of telling me, like, you should just be a dishwasher for the rest of your life. At least you're safe and you'll be out of prison, you know? At least you have a stable job, you know? Just keep it. Yeah. And then in my head, I was like, fuck that, you know? But
well, ain't that some shit, though?
Yeah.
Like, turn down your dreams to do something stable. But you know where that comes from, right?
Yeah. No, not really.
Well, our families, you know, they come from rough paths.
Absolutely.
You know, uprooting from their home countries.
Absolutely.
Coming to a country where, one, getting here wasn't easy. You know, I don't know if you know your story of your mom yet, but maybe we can dig into that in another episode. But like, they get here, and I just imagine sometimes like, none of our parents spoke English.
My mom said, don't speak English. Shout out, Mom.
So like, imagine being dropped off in a foreign place. They open those airport doors and say, go live.
That's wild shit, bro.
Right? Think about that.
Fuck yeah.
You don't know the language. You don't have any money. No place to stay. Maybe they got you cooped up somewhere like at a sponsor home or something. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
But like, that I feel like because they were uprooted and because the trauma they went through, I feel like that they just wanted something stable again. A stable life, stable income, a stable home. They never left San Jose, right? Like they just wanted something stable. And I think they indirectly projected that on us in a negative way. I think so.
Oh, I agree with where you're coming from. I feel like for myself though, like when she told me that, I had been in and out of jail as a juvenile, and like,
so she was looking out for you,
and she was trying to look out for me, like, bro, don't be going fucking around, like, just keep this job, you know, like, if you don't want to be shit out there, at least like do something that's safe, you know.
Yeah.
But when it came to the tattooing part of it, she was just like, fuck no, dude, like, this is stupid. You're never gonna make anything as an artist. She probably has like, you're not even an artist, because she didn't see the countless
she
hours,
didn't know. Yeah,
she didn't see the countless, because I would stay up in the late nights, and the love for like, I never had those conversations with my mom to tell her how much I love art, you know. It was always kept, which I look back and it makes me kind of sad now, but I didn't have those conversations, so she didn't know, right? But definitely, you know, growing up over here with a lot of immigrants, I myself being an immigrant, and I see a lot in households, Vietnamese, Cambodian, is that if the aspirations of the parents are not set high, and they're just going to come over here and open up a donut shop or work as a contractor or plumber or blah, 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 nothing wrong with any of those things.
Yeah. But then that's all they'll know.
Yeah, that's all they'll know. And they'll not be, because then if that's all of the knowledge they have, if you look at it as like nutrients, and those are the only nutrients you can provide for your seed, they'll only grow up to be like that. That would be like the cap, right? You can't blame them. That's all they know, you know, for sure.
So for my dad, he's always been a businessman. He was never the 9-to-5 type.
Okay.
I think that's what I get from him.
Yeah.
So my dad, he, I've mentioned that throughout our lifetime, he's always had a love for music, always had a studio, always had these kids around teaching, right? He knew the hardships of earning an income as a musician. He knew the hardships of making it, right? And being successful as a musician. Because, I mean, there's so much talent out there, right? Like, what's gonna set you apart, right? So I think that's what he kind of projected on me whenever I said I want to be a musician. Just from the data that he's seen throughout the years, right?
Makes sense.
But this thing never left, bro. This itch never left.
Good.
Every single day it's there, and it haunts me sometimes when I don't do it. You know,
like you betrayed it.
Yeah, it's like betraying ourselves.
Yes. Right. That's heavy.
Damn, bro. Side note, Dad, this is your fault. So
rock on, Dad. Oh, yeah.
We joked about it before. You know, I was just like, I want to do music, and he's like, why would you want to do music? I was like, this is your fault. Growing up my entire life, I saw you doing this, and I saw how much joy. This is your fault.
You did this to me, Dad.
And we laughed about it. Right?
That's a sick moment, though, right?
It was.
Yeah.
But, dude, I was like a year before graduating college. So this is after the counseling meeting, and after graduating, my dad's like, I said, what you gonna do now? I tell my dad, I'm not gonna be in med school. And you gotta remember, like, at this point, I had lied to my parents for like 4 years straight. Yeah. Oh yeah, things are going good. Oh yeah, I got this internship. That was all lies, bro. Yeah. I was getting Fs, barely making C grades, getting overtime classes. I was fucking up in college, bro. But yeah, when I told my dad I wasn't gonna be in med school, I could feel his like dream shatter. The dream of stability. Okay. The dream of status, right? Yeah. Because you gotta remember too, like in these last 4 years, like when I'm out from college, he's telling his homies, he's telling his family, he's telling my mom's family, like, oh, my he's making something of himself. He's gonna be this doctor. So that shattered. And when I told him, my dad's a very talkative guy. Okay. When I told him, silence. Because he's hurt, I don't think we've ever had a conversation to process that. But moving home, I feel like we didn't have a real conversation. I feel like it was always like in passing conversations, like, oh, what you doing today? Like just bullshit, right? I feel like we didn't have a real conversation for like a year because he was so disappointed. It was that tense, awkward silence, from me not making it as a doctor. To this conversation of that we could finally laugh that, hey, this is your fault.
Oh, it's sick.
Right? Sick. It was a year for us to process that. Okay. So, kind of crazy, right?
So how is it now after that initial year? And then how is it now? Does he like, Do you share with him all your projects? Does he ask about the projects? Does he even help out with a lot of the with the knowledge?
He's been integral.
Yeah.
Yeah, like when I opened up the studio and like figuring out camera gears and all that, like this is him being a kid. Like his joy was music and filming. And that's after that 1 year of silence, like we really started connecting. And like he's helped me with so many, like I didn't know what the fuck filmmaking was. You know, I only knew how to make beats back then, right? Like he helped me kind of figure out the blueprint for it and all that stuff. So it was definitely a connecting factor. And peep this, bro. Those years of college when he's telling his homies and he's telling his family that, oh, Dale's gonna be this and that. Guess what he does now?
My boy makes music videos.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing music videos, directing. Oh, check out this video he made.
That's right.
So parents will come around. Sure. I think so.
Yeah.
At least for what happened to me.
That's such a beautiful experience, though, man. That is like that is what it's about, man. Like, because then no matter how successful you were, like in any field that you went into, nothing would have been as sweet as that. I feel like then I'm just imagining it from your shoes. It's like it might be at first like disappointing him. Okay, then it comes around. It's like, damn, I'm so happy you did that because that's what I wanted to do. And then knowing that I inspired you to do that, like, oh, it makes me even happier. You know what I mean? I feel like as a father, that would fucking bring immense joy to myself. You know, as a son to share that with his father, like that's so sick, bro. You know?
So despite those rocks, man, like that rocky transition, I feel like the alignment was always there. Yeah. Like it all made sense eventually if I kept at it.
Yeah.
Right. No matter disappointing my parents or failing school, like somehow I ended up here. Yeah. Right. The universe nudged me there, and having a supporting figure is definitely important because my mom, no matter what the hell I wanted to do, she was always like, do it. She was never the type of like, my dad was the one that says no, right? Yeah. To whatever dream the fuck that was, right? My mom was always the, okay, cool, what's next? What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, thankful for that.
That's such a nice balance to have. And shout out to Dale's mom and dad, man. Like, it's sick because without all of that, and I know that family dynamics plays a huge role in your life, you know? Just grateful for the whole family and everyone that's a part of Dale's life that built him where I am today, or he is today, and allowing me to meet him and being able to do all this. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's sick, bro. And yeah, one day I hope to share an experience like that with my son. You know? And so, and I feel like I don't think any amount of money in the world could just all of those pieces of what we're talking about in our own lives, from the childhood to the teenage years to adulthood, all of these like dots connecting, right? That's a big dot for me right there, you know? And then at the end, you can always trickle it down to your 6-year-old self. Like, how beautiful of a thing would that be, right? And so, yeah, and I know you're about to have an addition to the family, you know? And I'm glad that we can share like these things on camera, bro, because later on when your son grows up and he listens to these things,
or daughter.
Or daughter. Or daughter. That's right. That's right. I'm assuming. I should say your child, right?
Yeah.
Even your great grandchildren later on, they'll listen to this and be like, damn, like Dad and Uncle Lo, like they're talking about shit like this.
Yeah. And
you know, it's just sick, bro, to be able to have this and connect with them. You know? That's what it's all about, man. You know.
I think we're getting good at like filling up the hour.
Oh, for sure.
You know, there hasn't been awkward silences and nothing.
Yeah.
So let's wrap today.
Sure.
On our next episode, we should talk growing pains of starting a business and walk through that journey of our businesses and how we got here.
Oh, for sure.
Because I think that's gonna tie all of these conversations together.
Oh, for sure.
Right, like the dance between passion and making money.
Yeah.
You know, like that should be next week's episode.
Yeah. That way we can not fast forward, but we can transition into the daily activities and then the weekly projects and having the guest people come on here and stuff like that, you know?
And we already got the guest chair.
Yeah.
Sick, bro.
So let's end it with the what are you grateful for?
Okay.
Yeah.
At this very exact moment, I am grateful for feeling lighthearted. I feel like there's a lot of, I mean, we talked about this, like, having a business and overhead and costs and always trying to find out when's the next gig coming in or something. Like, it takes a toll on people.
For sure.
Right? And the burnout, that's just real. Right? But at this very exact moment, doing what we want, the freedom to do it, the choice to do it, this is our own thing we're building. And right now I feel lighthearted because I don't feel that anxiety I used to have. Right now I feel cool. So well, that's what I'm thankful for.
Well, why do you think that is, though? That major factor?
It's definitely making the decision to not let... Sorry, let me run it back. It's thankful that I made the decision to live the life that I want. I think we were kind of chasing something different back then. I want to be this, I want to be that, I want to be this. But it took a step back a little bit. It took a pause, but like, hold on, that's fucking me up right now. Well, this is what I really wanted. I wanted the 6-year-old dream, not that dream. And so it took a step back, and it took a while, bro. Almost 2 years of this thought process, right? to feel this lightheadedness, because some days, like sometimes this shit's lonely, right? We're the only one here left at night, like, and everyone's gone. Sometimes you can't relate this to your girls, to your wife, and how can they relate, right? They don't walk our shoes, right? But I used to deal with a lot of anxiety every day of like making ends meet, making sure I get the next gig, that it fucking burned me the fuck out. But today, this exact moment, gratitude is towards not feeling that way.
That's awesome, bro. I think what gratitude I have right now, what I'm grateful for, if we're gonna talk about right now, or I think I'm grateful lately for this sense of like motivation I've been developing. There's a whole bunch of things in life that have happened, whatever, but I just feel a little bit more motivated, and like the purpose is more fine-tuned and focused, because a lot of the things that I'm trying to aspire to do regarding art or my career and things like that, all of these plans that we're doing right now is all just parts of it, you know what I mean? Parts of my life, and just following through and seeing things come into fruition, with the podcast, with just creating with you, with networking and, business and stuff like that, watching these things bloom, like it's been giving me like so much more motivation, that things haven't been happening. And so I'm very grateful for that, instead of just being like on cruise control, because I know how that feels. Just like
autopilot.
Yeah, I gotta go in here do this again. Like I don't even want, like, why am I even doing this? Like, what did I even just do? Like, or
what we talked about, being numb.
Yes, just having zero fulfillment. Not even. It's just like, how should I say this? Like muscle memory. Okay, this is all this and that. Like, oh, okay, that sounds kind of cool, blah, blah, blah. Or that looks kind of cool, blah blah blah. That's it. Pack it up, run it out. So I'm sitting there like, no, man, let's really create some shit, Like, we're doing it for a purpose, show people. Because it's one thing to show off just for the sake of showing off. But it's one thing to show off because you're trying to teach and show skill and add to your community, or grow your own community, And that requires presence. That requires hard work. That requires showmanship and you putting all of your effort into it to be able to create those things, for those purposes. And so, yeah, that's what I'm grateful for, man. Motivated, for sure.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
I'm sure that autopilot probably was for a couple years straight, huh?
Oh, for sure. It made the year feel like 10 years, bro.
Yeah.
Just like, man.
That's not what the 6-year-old low wanted.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right, bro. Let's call it a wrap.
Let's call it a wrap.
Next episode, we go into how we started our businesses and those growing pains and how we eventually became numb.
This is the road of destruction here, guys. You know, yeah. This is the beginning of the end. No, I'm just kidding. Hey, 3 Pillars podcast. Thank you guys for listening, and huge thanks to the Burgundy Sweet team and Dale. You know, and one love from Low. Okay, I guess.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers, bro. Cool.